It's not easy.
You got no sense in replacing it.
Actually, it's easier than you think.
And it probably was purchased, he's made it a while. Because that way, if he goes down to Cherokee Big Water, you can punch it.
You doing, man? On clerk treasurer.
Yeah.
He's in the closet.
Turn on the recording. Good. Welcome, everyone. Must be election time. Anyway, I want to open up the Lawrenceburg Board of Works meeting for March 4th, 2019. If I could get a roll call, please.
Board Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
Board Member Alan Calloway.
Here.
Police Chief Don Combs. Assistant Police Chief David Schneider.
Present.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine. EMS Director Bobby Mills. City Attorney Del Weldon. City Coordinator Brian Messmore. Absent. President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
All right. Any announcements, guys? You got anything up here tonight for this meeting? All right. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion will carry. Committee reports, Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Yeah, I passed out a couple items to you. One's a quote for 2 new radios to purchase this year. Probably 3 years ago, I started just trying to replace our radios by buying a couple a year, so it's that time of the year again. It's for $9,610.46. Just need the board's okay to go ahead and order.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion then to approve the purchase of 2 radios at price tag of $96,1046. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion will carry.
And then I passed out February's run stats. If you have any questions, let me know.
All right, thank you. Were you guys called out to that fire out in Bright last night?
No, Greendale was.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, Assistant Police Chief, oh yes, go ahead, John.
Thanks, sorry about that. Just to let the board know that the meeting on the 18th, I or Pat Myers will not be here. We got to go and do the pre-build on the truck. So
Oh,
we'll have,
okay.
Rob Schutte here and my cousin.
Got you. All right, thank you. All right, Assistant Police Chief David Schneider.
Thank you, Your Honor. With the passing of past secretary to our pension board, Mike Kennedy, I just want to say thanks to the clerk treasurer's office for stepping up and helping us out through that situation. We have got a reappointment, a temporary reappointment for secretary at this time, and we have a permanent reappointment as soon as we fill the interim spot. Get our new guy through perf and whatever.
Oh,
That's all I got.
okay. EMS Director Bobby Mills.
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to present to the board the 2 new hires we want to bring on board to replace
Wes and Sue.
us. Jenny looked over the applicants, actually about 7 that we looked at. That was actually all that was certified to come on board. And we chose 2 out of the 7 that we interviewed. They are part-time employees, so to speak. We just like your guys' approval. One of them is Alex Poole, Matt Stell.
Alex Poole and Matt Stell.
How do you spell
They are
Stell,
on our-
Bobby?
Pardon me?
How do you spell Stell?
Steele.
Okay.
Right.
22.
Questions from you guys?
EELL.
Was it LLE? Hell, it's been there wrong for 10 years. But anyway, they are on our roster. They don't have to be approved by the medical director at the hospital. They're good to go. Just give them orientation and bring them on board.
paramedic?
They are medics, yes. Yes.
Yeah, that was one of the requirements.
Right.
They had to be one for at least a year, I believe.
And they have a lot of years ahead of them, so one of them's a very young lady and the other one's 30s, but I think we got longevity with these two. Come on board. I think they'll be a good fit.
You guys want to take both of them at one time, approval, or you want to do separate? All right, entertain a motion then to accept Matt Stell and Alex Poole into paramedic / firefighter 1 and 2 position.
So moved.
Second? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion will carry. Thank you. Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, that's all I have.
All right, one item under new business I have is the Civic Park Amendment. That's actually for Strand and Associates. Their contract ran out over there. They need this is just for the extension. Actually, it's changed from December 31st, 2018. It'll be July 1st, 2019. All right, second? All those in favor? Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. All right, Mario Todd, 2019 Emergency Pump Agreement.
Your Honor, in your packet, you'll see a rental agreements from Allied. What this is a emergency response for pumps. We've got like 4 pumping stations. If we would lose any, this would be a backup until we got our pumps back online.
Is this something we do and it's just now come up, or is this a new idea?
We used to do it, Paul, back years ago. We haven't done it probably in the last 10 years.
This is just for them to be ready, or are we actually gonna rent one and have it during flood? What's the plan?
Actually, if you read through it, it's somewhat two-pronged. They'll actually have a pump standing by. If we call them, they'll bring it down, set it up, or we can go get it. And the pricing's broke down each way.
Are we paying for it only when we need it? Or do
Correct.
we
If you
have
look on the rate sheet, it has a run time, an idle time, and a weekly if it runs.
to- Okay, but, okay, all right.
And Paul, actually, it's at Millhouse Pumping Station
Yeah,
At the-
Millhouse Market.
at the plaza. That's probably our main concern. If we lose that station, we'd have water up in the shopping center probably within an hour's time.
Okay. I remember last year they had, I don't think they had problems, but it was a little difficult there.
Yeah, it was,
We had some of the float switches.
well, we had, a circuit board go bad.
I have another question too. When you say it's on standby, it's in their control, right?
Correct.
No, I mean,
It's 24-hour service, 7 days a week.
is there a certain time that we put it in standby? I mean, they don't do that 365 days a year, do they?
No, what we have done is find out what size pump we need for that area. If we give them a day's notice, say, hey, we've got high water coming in, they're on standby at that point.
Okay.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion then?
Motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Thank you.
Thanks, Your Honor. That's
All
all I
right.
had.
Anything else?
That was it.
All right. Del Weldon, 1816 contract.
Thank you, Your Honor. If it pleases the Board of Public Works and Safety, we have in our packets the 2019 contract for lobbying services with 1816. Their principal lobbyist, Matt Whetstone, is here tonight and is scheduled to make a presentation during the council portion, kind of give us an update. We're a little past halfway through this session, which is actually a budget session. And so this is up for consideration to continue their services and renew them for the upcoming term.
All right. Any questions, guys? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Thank you. All right, I don't have any other new business unless one of you gentlemen do. All right, under old business, Mr. Clark, HWC Engineering, I believe this is the rebid on the splash park.
That is correct, and Your Honor, I'd like to turn it over to HWC, let them do the opening, read the figures, and then we will take it under advisement and come back at the next meeting with a recommendation.
Okay, okay.
Good evening. My name is Kyle Leakin with HWC Engineering. We received 2 bids for the project for the activity pool and splash pad. I'll open those and just read the bid amounts, and as Mike said, then hand them back over, take them under advisement, and review and be sure everything is complete within the bid packages. First bid is from John Tumlin and Sons. John P. Tumlin and Sons. There's a base bid amount and then 3 alternate amounts, so I'll read each one of those. The lump sum amount is $1,292,000.
Go ahead.
Got everyone real excited there, didn't I?
No, we're fine with your first.
Let me back up a second. $1,292,200 is the base bid amount. The 3 alternates, the alternate 1 is $3,880. That is a deduct. Alternate 2 is no change. And alternate 3 is $13,300, and that is a deduct.
Okay. Mike, you guys are going to go back after but we're going to got a second one here, but you're going to go back and relook at these, come back with a recommendation at the 18th meeting?
That is correct.
The second bid is from Maxwell Construction. Total base bid is $1,248,800. Alternate 1 amount is $2,500. That is a deduct. Alternate 2 amount is $29,000. That is a deduct. And alternate 3 amount is $14,500, and that is a deduct.
So we go with the $1,292 one, right?
I thought I struck that from the
Oh, okay.
record.
All right. Paul, you liked that one, didn't you? Yeah, I don't either. Okay, so I guess the proper thing to do tonight then would be to table it so it stays on the, yeah, so it stays on the agenda for next meeting. Okay.
At the next meeting, can we have an explanation of the deducts, what that would be?
Yes.
Total breakdown.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to take these under advisement until the next meeting on the 18th.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. I don't have any other additional old business for Board of Works. If you guys don't, I'd entertain a motion to approve the claims.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Parks and playgrounds as soon as we're seated.
Went back out of the camera. Or was it? Single sided. Threw you off.
Okay, I'll call to order the Lawrenceburg Parks and Playgrounds meeting for March 4th, 2018 with a roll call. Mr. Richardson?
Board Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Board Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Board Member Mel Davis.
Here.
Board Member Randy Abner.
Here.
Board Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
City Coordinator Brian Messmore.
Present.
President Kelly Milan. Here. Myself.
All right, any announcements? Anybody from up here have any announcements for Parks and Playgrounds?
Yeah, Mayor, I don't know if it's under announcements or new business,
Go
but
right ahead.
I passed this out to everybody. There's some questions on the pickleball paint marks at the Ludlow Hill Park, and I talked to Mario and Mike, and they said they'd go up there and check the dimensions and stuff.
Okay, make sure they're accurate.
Exactly. In case you want to get up there and play this weekend.
Yeah. Pickleball's the next up and coming. I mean, it's the next Olympic sport. Probably, right? I don't know.
It's popular, yeah.
Could be.
I heard like curling.
It could, yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other announcements?
That's all I had, Mayor.
Anybody? All right. If not, entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. New business, I've got one for tonight. The annual Little League Parade is going to be April the 20th. They're just asking permission to be able to use the current route that they always used, going down from the event center down to the ball fields. I entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Any other new business that I'm not aware of, or I don't have any other? All right, any old business?
I just make a comment. I went over and visited the restroom.
Over
at the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
Looking good. Guys are doing a good job. Looks like they're making picnic tables, getting ready for this year's season for everybody to have fun. So I just want to say thanks to the crew of Lawrenceburg. They're all working.
They stayed busy this winter. Anything else, old business? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Need a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. I'd like to open up the City of Lawrenceburg Council meeting for March 4th, 2019. All rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'm sorry about that, Richard. All right, can I get a roll call, please?
Councilperson Tony Abbott.
Here.
Councilperson Aaron Cook.
Here.
Councilperson Mel Davis.
Here.
Councilperson Randy Abner.
Here.
Councilperson Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
Assistant Police Chief David Schneider.
Here.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Here.
EMS Director Bobby Mills. City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
City Coordinator Brian Messmore. City Court Judge Joe Johns. Absent Mayor Kelly Milan.
Here.
Myself.
All right. Okay, announcements, board reports, streets, alleys, and curbs. Mr. Cook?
Two things, Mayor.
Right.
I guess the stop sign at the corner of Elm and Tate is painted black. So
Everybody's painted all over it.
I'm not sure if it's Tony or not, but I heard that was painted black.
Could have been.
And yeah,
They don't stop her anyway, so why have?
Got cameras.
So-
Got cameras, Tony.
bust him.
You may not want to do that again.
We're gonna have to need a new one, I guess, unless you can get the black spray paint off them. I don't know. Probably easier.
Okay.
And the second thing was I wanted to check on the status of the metal arch at the corner of Arch Street and Center.
Right.
Hopefully we're out for bids in the next 30 to 60 days on that.
Okay. Go ahead, Mayor.
Okay. Finance, Mr. Abbott.
We're good.
Parks and Playgrounds, Mr. Seymour. Fire, Randy Abner.
Assistant Chief Schutte will be going to a fire school. He's going to complete a 40-hour safety officer's class. pass that on to you guys, let you guys all know that.
All right. Good. Okay. Any other announcements that anyone up here wants to make? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports. Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
The board has a copy of February run stats. If you have any questions, give me a holler.
All right. Thank you. Assistant Police Chief David Snyder.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to say that the funeral of Chief David Hewitt a couple weeks ago, I don't think we've had a council meeting since. Lawrenceburg was well represented. Appreciates it. I know the family appreciates it. I myself seen several people from the administration there at the services, and that was well received by the family and the community, and it's appreciated. Also, City Attorney Weldon knows a little bit about this. There's a notification of an upcoming visit to our community, and it's from the Indiana University, and they are doing a study it's through their Precision Health Grand Challenge, and it's basically they randomly select households in our area, and they see what keeps people from getting good health care, what they need, and these houses have been randomly selected. So if anybody, IU student, happens to come to anybody's household, we want to let you know that we know they're in the area. They've been vetted through the police department. Their credentials will be on them. And I guess people don't have to participate in this, but it's something that's going on statewide, and it's got a pretty good, it's got some very good feedback as far as healthcare on the state level. So it's, they're gaining some intel here and using our community as a model. So.
Okay, great.
And that's all I got, Your Honor.
Okay. EMS Director Bobby Mills.
I have a further report.
Judge Johns is ill today, so there'll be no report from City Court. New business, 1816, Mr. Matt Whetstone, update, please.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the councils. Nice to see you. It was a beautiful day to drive down today, a little cold.
Yeah.
But the legislature is at the halfway point, just coming back from break today. Very busy first half. I did double check with Senator Perfect, Representative Linus, and Representative Fry this morning on the way down just to make sure that I was covering anything that they might have that thought was pertinent right now. Senator Perfect is really focused on LDA agreements in the gaming bill. Make sure we protect those, and I'll talk about those in just a second, and where there is some legislation dealing with those around the state. Representative Linus, there's a bill that moved through the House, passed with 51 or 52 votes on housing reports, House Bill 1625. He is trying to make sure we have a say in that, and I'll talk about the details of that in just a second. And then Representative Fry, he's working obviously hard on different things along waterways and making sure that we are focused with the state and the governor on what's going on there. So we can talk about those as you want. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I want to start with the gaming bill and the local development agreement language that are in those, because that's what we watch for as a creek in that dam to make sure that we're protected, and going forward we have what we need. And I'm very encouraged by the language in both Senate Bill 66, which is what they're calling a Gary Revitalization Act, which does a lot up there with their port, but in doing that it relocates potentially a riverboat to the south side of Gary, but leaving it within the city limits of Gary. And the bill specifically takes two tacks, which I think is a kind of a positive development for us. It forces the new operator of that casino in Gary to create LDAs with not only the city of Gary, but with the Gary Compact for Infrastructure Transportation. So where we're always worried that they might come and try and crack into that somehow, in Senate Bill 66, they're going the other way, and they're mandating it still today that a local development agreement is a part of any new deal. Also in Terre Haute, where one of those licenses might move, the legislature again is mandating that there be a local development agreement for the operation of that. So I think that's a real positive thing for the other communities in the state, including us, who have local development agreements today, that the state is still in that mode of operation to require you to have a local development agreement to enter into a community. Those communities still have to do resolutions and referendums and all that kind of stuff to get this to happen. But from our perspective, it's all positive, and Senator Perfect, Representative Linus, and Representative Fry all know that and are watching that, and Chip watched that a lot as it came through the Senate to protect those LDAs. So I think good news on that front today. But both the Senate and the House are different bodies, so we're shifting. We can't, just rest on that. We're shifting to the other side, and we're going to have to deal with the House on those questions. The intricacies of the gaming bill, this is a massive bill, probably the biggest bill that we have seen since we started Riverboat Gaming in Indiana, because it tries to kind of reorganize the industry, not only from a location perspective, but from a tax and an income perspective. One thing the legislature has done well is it's created a climate of consistency where some of our neighbors, Illinois and others, have not created that same climate. So our operators like it in Indiana because we try to be consistent from a business practice standpoint. This bill, for the first time, as it relocates everything, also takes into account kind of what we used to call hold harmless. If you remember, we did away with the dockside and we've done all that. We kind of held everybody at certain levels. That's kind of been our MO over the years, so that the local government entities don't get harmed when we make some of these changes. There's a little bit of that going on in this bill this year in trying to make, as if they move a boat to Terre Haute or move one to South of Gary, who gets harmed in that, and how can we adjust that a little bit in the revenue side to try and hold everybody harmless. So all the vibes that I'm seeing are positive for all of us who have income coming in from these at this point. That bill, though, just in a big picture, what that bill does, it does everything from sports wagering to the Gary relocation, Terre Haute. It's got a repeal of the 2-boat rule, so somebody can own more than 2, potentially in Indiana. As you know, Caesars last year acquired the 2 racinos. So now they'll have 4 properties at some point. They do have 4 properties, but as those racinos become full casinos, as we know, that's on slate to happen next year, I think. As that happens, then they will have 4 properties kind of in that mix. So cleanup of that. They are putting into place a 75-mile rule. And that 75-mile rule will then protect all those entities from any new licensee operator to be within 75 miles of any current property. So once the potential Gary Terre Haute thing lands and you draw those 75-mile circles around all of those properties, it gets pretty tight to put anything really anywhere else. Maybe Fort Wayne if you're looking up there, but that's probably pretty close to 75 miles from Anderson if I'm guessing. Maybe right on the number. Maybe that's why they picked it. I'm not sure. So we'll have that. We'll have that moving as well. There was one other thing I wanted to mention as I was talking about.
Does it address, Matt, does it address anything with regards to the unused machines down at Rising Star?
Yes, so let's talk about that. So, and by the way, just circle on table games real quick, because we know that passed. It's currently taking effect in 20, but this bill would just allow it to happen whenever the Gaming Commission approves it. So it could move it up a few months if this bill passes as a part of that statewide overhaul. But specifically to Rising Star, Rising Sun, there are 2 gaming bills. So I've talked about 552, which is kind of the big bill, but there's also 66, which is the Gary Revitalization Bill, which also has casino language in it. The 2 bills kind of handle differently the question of who can move to Terre Haute. Is it the person that owns the license from Gary, or is it somebody that wants to come in and bid? As you know, Rising Star's ownership has looked at Terre Haute to move their excess capacity down the road to Terre Haute. So what the legislature is trying to do in these 2 bills is attack it 2 different ways. They sent them to the House this way. One would allow anybody else, whether it be Hollywood, anybody, to go bid on that license and require the owner to transfer it if somebody else is successful in negotiating that license in Terre Haute, let's say. The other allows the owner to move it. And so there's 2 different trains of thoughts on that, and it will be determined over the next 8 weeks what the final version of that is. But they could address it by capping and allowing you to move positions, or they can just make it a permit, make it a license and move it to Terre Haute and let Rising Star or Penn or anybody go compete for it. So huge changes in gaming this year, both tax structure and policy. But our main goal, LDAs, they're still going to require them with these new operators, and I think that's important for us for a long time to come. So that's kind of a real cliff notes of where gaming is. There's a lot happening. Our 3 legislators, at least 3, are on board and understanding what the goals are and being very proactive in there. And so now it'll go to Representative Linus and Representative Fry to hold the mantle over there. But they've got partners from all the other communities as well. And keep in mind, all the non-gaming communities are still making a little bit of money too in these deals. But you guys put it on the line when you passed the referendum back in the earlier days. So I don't know if there's any questions on gaming. I got just a few other things I wanted to mention that are important that are kind of on AIM's agenda.
Other questions on gaming right now?
So the one that came out of the House bill, and I'm going to pull up my computer here real quick. House Bill 1625 is the bill that basically mandates you, anytime you pass an ordinance, to do a housing impact study. So we have to do a fiscal analysis on pretty much anything you do, whether it be utilities, public safety, zoning, planning, tearing down a house, anything that could affect the market value of the housing industry or the housing community in your area. You have to do a study before you pass that ordinance. And not only do you have to do a study, you all have to have the study done and in your hands 30 days before you consider the ordinance. It's a pretty big burden on municipal and county government. It also applies to state agencies in a little bit different form. This bill snuck out of the House, I'll say, with 52 votes, I think, with a lot of work from some different groups. So it's going to the Senate. We don't know yet its fate, but I know from AIM's perspective, and I think some of you know I'm a county commissioner as well over in Hendricks County. From our perspective as local government officials, it's pretty important that we want to be responsive to industries that want to know what our housing market is like, but to require us on before any ordinance we pass that could affect anything, which is really any ordinance you pass, you can make an argument could affect your cost of housing in your community, to make us go through that step. So that is, if there's one thing that AIM will make sure we're all staying on task, is to try and make sure that bill doesn't make it out of the Senate the way it is today. There was an annexation bill that was presented to the Senate. It died on the floor. It failed for lack of a constitutional majority. It would have made the county commissioners, given them some oversight on annexations you do if they met certain percentages of your community guidelines. But that did go away. It's been around a long time and it hasn't passed yet. I'm not sure it will, but something to watch as we go forward. The bill that deals with tax appeals, we call it the dark stores bill, that allows companies in big boxes to appeal their tax rates. That's moving through the Senate, past the Senate, on its way to the House. That would create kind of a 10-year buffer from if you put a TIF district out there that allows these box stores to move in, and I'm not sure how many business development districts we have, but what's happened around the state, especially around big logistics areas like out by the airport in Indianapolis and some other places, is these boxes, as they go empty or as the owners decide that they're being overcharged, they'll go appeal those tax rates based on kind of an empty building or a dark store building concept. And I know in our county we write checks every month to these stores that are winning on appeal. This would say that they can't really, for 10 years, and we got Bruce here. I'm leaning on Bruce a little bit as one of the TIF guys around Indiana that the legislature leans on, but for 10 years they kind of put a freeze on those values, kind of to protect local government from kind of just this exhaustive pullout of tax appeals. So it's a big deal. That's the dark stores bill 625. It's on its way to the House. Will give us an opportunity as we develop our communities to at least have some certainty in the tax revenue that might come in when I don't know who does your fiscal analysis before you get to Bruce, but whoever's doing that fiscal analysis can have a better idea of what your number is going to be, at least through the first parts of those processes, instead of every year somebody coming in and dinging us. So that's an important bill as we get into the second half. There is a bill 1596 that is a TIF development bill on its way to the Senate. It started off just as Jeffersonville and some tweaks that needed down there, but as it's developed, it's kind of grown a little bit. I think you might have, some of you, if you get the AIM update, it was on the AIM update last week, but it will expand what you can and can't do and what the timeframes are on those. If I pull it up, just to make sure I give you the right dates. What you can use it for, if it's outside the TIF, inside the TIF, and it really kind of hamstrings some things. And I'm not sure how you use your TIF dollars necessarily, because I just haven't seen your last TIF deals. But something to watch for as we get into the second half is how House Bill 1596 moves with the TIF allocation areas and the limitations on how we can spend those monies. Right now you can do things that help feed that TIF, but we'll have to see how that bill moves through. So TIF, there's a stormwater bill. I don't know if anybody's got a chance to look at the stormwater bill, but it's going to mandate that it's kind of interesting. We only have 5 days to respond to a permit request instead of 28. kind of a big deal. I mean, we move fast, and you're very responsive to your folks, but it gives a lot more power on the other side, and if we don't respond in 5 days, it automatically issues the permit. And if we try to do a stop work order, we have to have 72 hours for them to fix it without the stop work order. It's kind of a convoluted utility thing, but we're dealing with that as well, and so we'll see how that comes out. That's House Bill 1266 on its way to the Senate. So, I mean, I covered a little bit where we are. I expect that this session will end maybe just a few days earlier than the constitutional day of the last day of April, or I think April 29th or 30th this year. I think they'll get done maybe the Friday before that, because that's like on a weekend, I think. The budget is moving. There wasn't too much fanfare on it as it moved out of the House. I think it was pretty much a party line vote. That's not unusual at this step of the process, as they all jive for teacher pay, and the state had to stick an incredible amount of money into DCS and some programs like that, Medicaid, that were just $270 million, I think, to DCS that they were unfunded last year. So they're working hard to try and keep the budget balanced. But the issues that are left on the table, bias crimes, the budget, gaming, teacher pay, they want to increase in teacher pay, just things like that. So it's been busy, but I think they'll make it on time, and I don't think there's any reason I'd see a special session this year. So
I had one other bill I think that was out there regarding redevelopment.
Okay.
And actually was going to give the school board representative or the school
Yes.
representative
Yes, that was
ability to vote.
That was Representative Cook's bill in the House, COOK. I attended that hearing, and they did not bring it back on the second phase. Right now, you have a school board member, I think, is just a non-voting ad hoc member, or I think the thing that kept them from doing it, and I have this in my county, is we appoint a superintendent to our board as a voting member on behalf of the commissioners. So you could do that today if you chose to. You don't have to. It's up to the local government. It's not, I guess, an exclusion to have them. So some people are already doing it, and I think the chairman decided there was no reason to force it if you can already do it. It's a local decision. Leave it to the local control. But that could pop back up at any time as well.
Any questions? The only thing I would ask is we'll have you come back after the session and
Absolutely, yeah.
give us an update on what all transpired from all this.
Yeah, but very encouraged by the LDA
Yes.
conversation. Yeah.
Is there any, in the budget,
Yeah.
are there any monies allocated to repair our road infrastructure?
So, the legislature took a specific.
Out of gasoline tax.
Yes. Well, I mean, they kind of crossed the road piece over the last few years with their changes to build the infrastructure out. There is money specifically in the budget this year for water infrastructure.
Okay.
They are now, to answer your question, nothing that wasn't already there.
All right.
But they have put $20 million, and I'll double check that figure, but I think $20 million statewide for water infrastructure, because what we know, but a lot of people don't understand, is why our roads might need improvement. If we don't tackle the water infrastructure problem we have today, we are going to be underwater. I mean, it's just critical. There are some lead bills moving on water testing for schools and other things like that. But I think those of us who have worked on utilities and understand that and are trying to move the
Stormwater infrastructure.
well, no, this is drinking water.
Drinking water.
Drinking water
Finished
infrastructure. Stormwater can be a part of it as well. But we have to get some of these antiquated pipes. I mean, I just heard there was a hole in the middle of downtown Indianapolis last week that somebody said the pipe was 80-some years old, and it created a sinkhole right on Meridian Street, I think, or Capitol. So there's a boiling water infrastructure problem that they are addressing, but I would say on the road funding side, it's just what is in place today from major moves and from the past couple of years of infrastructure.
I thought it was going to be more of rough road ahead signs.
Well, I tell you, I'm driving down here, and I'm sure you guys drive down here a lot, and I grew up in Connersville, so I get down here occasionally too, but there were a few holes on 74 on the way down, right in the middle. I thought we were going to have to get a tackle on quick, or they're going to be really big holes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you for coming down. Oh, no problem.
Okay, next on the agenda is Miss Rudisell, Speedway donation. Hi, Kim.
Hello, thank you. Dave couldn't be here tonight. He's still attending to scary duty, so you're stuck with me. But I wanted to come down and give you guys the annual community giving campaign summary from the 2008 racing season, as we have in the past. So I'm going to throw a whole lot of numbers at you. But this year we hosted 5 community drives, collecting over 5,000 items, which consisted of 2 food drives, a school supplies drive, pet food and toy drive, as well as our breast cancer awareness event. All the donations stayed in Dearborn County at the request of our corporate partner, Kroger, and kind of in conjunction with their Feed the Hungry campaign. And all of those drives are once again scheduled for the 2019 racing season. Every year, last year and this year, we'll be hosting our Community Salute campaign, which consists of Scout Night, Youth Sports Night, Servicemen and Women Night, 2 family nights, CDL night, as well as our Pretty in Pink and Dog Days of Summer promotions at the races. In 2018, we made in-kind ticket donations to over 1,700 nonprofit organizations in the tri-state area, which consisted of 31,400 vouchers and a total face value of $488,000. And of those donations redeemed, 66% of them were first-time visitors. So we make sure we keep good track of that because we like to remarket to those people. And the goal is to get them back to Lawrenceburg, Indiana, not just the Speedway, but get them back to Lawrenceburg within a 6-month time period on their own. So, so with all that, we like to make sure we give back to our local community as well. So I have a check here for $1,100 specifically for the City of Lawrenceburg Donation Committee.
Thank you very much. Kim.
Thank you, guys. Any questions on any of that? Okay.
Chuck, I got a request.
Okay.
Would you consider this year, give us a packet of tickets? I would personally like you to give it to somebody besides me.
Okay.
And I would like for council to consider not accepting the tickets, not because of anything other than I think that you know, big brothers, big sisters, or anything like that that you can think of, you're better at this than we are. You just stated it. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd like you to consider taking our packet and dispersing it somewhere where somebody could get some real good use out of it.
We're more than happy to do that. Any council member who wants to. Okay. Yeah, if you all want to get with me, just say, hey, could you send my tickets to so-and-so on our behalf? We can format a letter and mail it to them, and I can even bring you the letter if you want to sign it and say this is a gift from.
They're not my tickets. I want them to be sent to somebody else because I don't think they should be our tickets.
Big Brothers will take them. We have our fundraiser this weekend.
Absolutely.
Can I make a comment to that? Kim has always, I've been on Big Brothers Big Sisters since 2013, and Kim has always given us, donated for the Bowl for Kids' sake. So that is one that she does regularly.
Yeah. Or
Not that
Hard
they couldn't
House.
take more, but she does do it already.
Hard House, you can give mine to Hard House or Big Brothers Big Sisters, or just some little boy or girl wandering down the street that doesn't know where to go.
Yep, we can certainly do that. So if each one, you know.
I was going to have Kim, can you tell them about our other donation about
Yes.
the building?
Yes. So it was actually something that was almost a year in the works. But we were one of 2 racetracks in the nation chosen to receive, I don't know if a grant is the right term, but a supplement through Toyota Grassroots Racing. And so we had to present them with some ideas, and then they got to choose what we ultimately did. So we presented with, you know, a Hall of Fame of pictures underneath the grandstand, or a family picnic area and a storage shed to combine the souvenir stands and ice cream store. And so they chose that one. And so everything's finally on site just in like the last 2 weeks. And so we were able to bring everything to one location over at the Speedway. We used to have ice cream freezers and closets that we pulled out because we're at a lack of storage there. And souvenir stands over here, and we're constantly moving stuff. So now everything's combined into the one shed. And then we have, you know, I keep calling them resort-style tables. There'll be a really nice 20-foot by 20-foot area with picnic tables and flower boxes and benches. And so, like I said, all that's finally on site. And we just need Mother Nature to give us some warm weather so we can put everything together. So.
Thank you.
Can you
Great.
give us an update on the dirt on the racetrack?
To the best of my knowledge, everything is there. The dirt is there. And,
Good weather?
Correct,
on weather.
correct. We've got to mix it in with the existing dirt. Hopefully we get a couple weeks before race day to make that happen.
and we open in 3 weeks. March 23rd is open practice, and then opening night is March 23rd, so.
I'd just like to thank this administration, you know, we put the pit area fence up, we put a new restroom back there for the pit area, the dirt for the racetrack. We're remodeling the restroom in the midway, so I say good job, guys, to maintaining what we have. Good job.
And thank you guys for doing all this. It makes our lives a lot easier.
Tell Dave thank you as well, Kim.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, Mr. Richardson, the LRC report.
Should be RDC report, Lawrenceburg redevelopment. So this will be for Brian, so he can pass this on to the redevelopment committee. This is just a statutory thing we have to do. It's a financial update for the redevelopment and TIF project. We are up to date with all of our DLGF gateway reporting for the State Board of Accounts. We have our 2018 information that has been uploaded and ready at the end of fiscal year 2018. It's a total of $372,591 available in the RDC account. We'll just pass that along for Brian to get. Brian, did you get one of these reports? All right. No action needs to be taken. It's just a
Information?
statutory reporting, informational. It's also available online if anybody wants to take a look at it. You can go to our website. We do have it posted there.
Okay.
I got two questions. One of them is we looked at the report, and I know we're just trying to get our TIF going, and I know we've gotten some property back. Is there any way we can set up a work session to talk about? Because I understand that property's not going to go back to redevelopment, but the council.
Which property?
The Strong's building and the ice cream building.
Oh, as far as the,
That, and actually, a lot of, you know, the firehouse, the row house, I guess I would like to have a meeting to say, what are we gonna do? Are those gonna go back to redevelopment, or are they gonna stay at council, or what are we gonna do there?
okay. I thought, did you want to talk TIF too as well, or something?
Yeah,
Is that what you were
just
talking
a
about in there?
Conversation about what,
Okay.
you know,
So redevelopment.
and I don't know whether it's a redevelopment question or a council question, because I think.
We can
there's a
have
chance
both. We can have both there.
We have both.
Yeah.
Okay. And I have another redevelopment request.
Yes,
I understand there's an opening on redevelopment,
yes.
and I would like to be considered for it. I've put a lot of time in. I've invested a lot of risk and money with the homes. I feel like I know an awful lot about it. I know it's your appointment, but I want to request that if you're looking for somebody, I want to put my name in the hat.
The only thing is we can't have 3 councilmen on there, I believe.
I've talked to people who told you that.
No, I'm just saying, I don't know if we can.
I was told we can't.
Oh.
But, research it. I'm just putting my name in the hat. I'd sure like to do it. I've been a big part of it for quite a few years.
Okay. Anything else on that report? Paul?
That's it.
Okay. All right, the next, any other questions on the report? Next item is the Hollywood Boulevard Light Project. For those of you that don't know, Hollywood Boulevard is a street that we maintain. It's in our inventory. The light poles over there are in pretty rough shape. So we had a quote go out, actually, to be able to maybe fix all of the light poles while they're in place from a company. And then also a quote to just replace the light poles completely, correct?
Correct, Your Honor. What's in your packet, I think it's just I don't know if it's the light poles, it may just be the standards.
The 130
Okay, that
For
is a
09?
false. Correct. Yeah. There should be another one in there for just the standards and signs.
Yes, we got that one too. I think that's 212,000 total.
No, there should be
price.
one in there for, yes.
21209.
For the no light poles, 21,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's on the back of,
Okay.
all the way to the back.
Yeah, that's on this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that is just for
No, that's
the
fine.
information signs and decorative bollards that are over there also.
Right, that's in addition to the light poles.
Correct.
The 21,209,
Correct.
yes.
Because the one price is a new standard, completely new light standard for 100 and comes up to about 190,000.
Okay. So I'd like to, you got any questions about, any considerations, either, they were in your packet, so I'm assuming you taken a pretty good look at it. The company that can fix these right in place, I guess, right up here on 128, they claim they can, that the poles are in good enough shape.
Mayor, my thought is I do, there's been a couple hit,
Yes.
but the one that was hit, the decorative base was ruined, but I think the pole's in pretty good shape. Well, we've got a pole that's, the decorative base is completely covered with shrubs. We could take it off of that one and put it on the other one. The other one was obviously destroyed. Where are we at with the insurance company? I mean, is that their problem?
Well, yeah, we will get reimbursed for anything that gets replaced over there. Guardrail that was destroyed as well.
Yeah.
That's all been turned into insurance. Mr. Abden took care of all that. I don't believe we've received the check. I don't know if you know Mr. Richardson, but I don't believe we've received the check back or anything for that yet.
I don't believe so.
If there's a situation to where one light pole doesn't match all the other ones, what's the insurance company liable for? Can we order these light poles?
These are cast aluminum, or excuse me, cast iron. The new ones are cast aluminum.
Right. I personally think the poles can be painted. What I worry about is they took one down, they cut it off. The bases, the concrete's not real good on them. I'm a little bit worried about taking 38 poles down. How many of these sonic tube bases are gonna get ruined by taking them down? I would much prefer that we try to get another 10, 15 years out of the paint job on these poles, and the next time around, maybe somebody can replace them, because it could end up being a lot more money. This $200,000 price doesn't include labor putting them up, putting them together. There's a lot that can go wrong on that. If we paint them in place, I feel like that's a pretty fixed number.
You're talking about this bid then?
Yeah, I agree, Your Honor. The only exception I would take is that the lenses on the lights either be replaced or removed. While we're doing this reconstruction, they're bug catchers is what they are. They fill up with bugs. You gotta take them apart and empty them out, and then they're all discolored besides that, from the UV rays.
Okay. One thing that, I understand what you're saying there, Mel. One thing to remember, that these will, when they get redone, they'll be black.
Like, that's what.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted
Yeah.
to bring that out, but yes, sir.
Your Honor, to answer, or to go on with Nell, the fixtures can be changed, the lamps upgraded to LED for about 18,000.
All of them?
Yeah. It's a rough estimate, but
That's probably not a bad deal.
How about, could we possibly, there's a ton of electrical work to do in that area too. Can we do that in-house? And what I mean by is we have on our maintenance staff, we hired an electrician out because there's a lot of busted boxes and things that we need to take care of while we're doing this.
and we'd probably replace every outlet over there. Those were for the Christmas lighting,
Yeah,
and I think the landscape crew has hit every outlet and shored it out over there.
well, what they have in the salt is taken care of.
Correct, correct. So we would do
Let
it.
me ask you this, Mario, do we need those outlets on them lights?
You know, they used to put lights on, everybody say, for the last, you probably even noticed, for the last probably 5 years, there's been no decorative lights up there.
Maybe we should talk to Hollywood and see if they want to put decorative lights up. If so, leave the receptacles. If not, unless we need them for something else, some kind of a Mardi Gras parade or something.
Be more than happy to sit down and work with them.
So I mean, I'm hearing a couple people say that go with replacing in place and repainting and such.
Yes, and the light fixtures.
Anyone else have any comments?
To answer Paul's question, you know, we can check with our folks in-house to see if we've got the resources to you know, rephase some of those lights over there. If not, we'll
And we
probably
should be able
outsource it.
to. Okay.
I say we go to them and tell them what they're gonna do.
Okay.
That's, I mean, I don't wanna ask them if they wanna do the work. I mean, we've got some people over there I know that can do the work. And if we decide to put the outlets in, I think the first thing we do is go to Hollywood and say, we have just taken care of all our lights, and any damage done to any of our electricity will be repaired by whoever does your lawn care work. Because that's probably 100% of what's wrong with what we got.
So I would entertain a motion then to repair and paint in place for the, now, I mean, do you guys want to do the extra, the 21,209 is not the light poles, it's the other signs that would match the,
Well, there is a price there that has that included. If you go to the 130,
the 130 includes the
yeah,
21?
if you look up there, that has all the structures on there. We just broke it out in case you went with the new structures.
I got you, okay, that was for just the new,
Yeah,
okay,
but no, that's included in the 130.
okay, all right. Okay. Motion to approve the quote from Epoxy Systems Blasting and Coating.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Exception, Mayor. That includes the lights also, Mario?
That does not include the LED upgrades.
Well, I don't know if we need to upgrade them or not, but we do need to take the globes off.
If we take
lenses.
the globes off, we probably should just go with LEDs and save that cost also in the energy efficiency of it.
We can look at pricing on that. I mean, we can do that as an add-on.
Well, or do
This is the quote from them to do
or if
to the poles only.
you want to buy the fixtures, we can install the fixtures in-house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Your Honor, I will say that when we went over and looked at those, there wasn't a good option to re-lamp those with an LED, like an aftermarket.
Okay.
So it would probably be difficult to do that. So if we're gonna move for LEDs, it'd probably be new fixtures.
Okay. If we move towards LED.
Sure.
We can determine that, get some pricing.
I'll second.
Both sides.
I'll second the motion.
All right. All those in favor then?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion will carry. Thank you. Did they give me a time frame when they can get started on that?
8 to 12 weeks from start to finish. we need to give them a couple weeks heads up on it.
Okay, thank you. All right, one other thing, it's not on the agenda, I made you guys aware of, you know, the formula we have with the LCD that they wrote us a check back for $111,000 and some change last year. Well, we owe them $16,554 is what the total is. I just need a motion to pay that back to them.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilperson Tony Abbott.
Aye.
Councilperson Aaron Cook.
Yes.
Councilperson Mel Davis.
Yes.
Councilperson Randy Abner.
Yes.
Councilperson Paul Seymour Jr.
Okay. Motion carries 401. Thank you. The next item is Mike Clark, LMU variance update.
Thank you, Your Honor. If it pleases the council, this is on our agenda tonight because this was heading through the BZA variance process, and I felt that it was more appropriately handled by City Council. So I asked Mr. Blondell, who represents Board of Zoning Appeals, and Mr. Clark for their permission to move this onto the council's agenda. So in terms of background, this variance that has been applied for is in regard to the modifications made to what's called the data center, which is a facility over on Front Street. If everyone will recall, there was a construction project over there whereby LMU made certain modifications to the parking area, and those modifications were not in compliance with local code. And I'll kind of read through this summary that you guys have in your packet. But just in general, the reason that I asked for this to be moved to the council's agenda and not be handled through a variance is that if the Board of Zoning Appeals did grant a variance and allowed for a deviation from our codes, and this project is clearly out of compliance with our codes, that deviation is better handled by City Council. City Council can vote to authorize a project that the city itself does and allow our own project to not be in compliance with the code. So rather than saying one part of the city, LMU is the department of the city, applying basically in opposition to another department of the city, which is our engineering department, and having the Board of Zoning Appeals issue a variance, what I would ask for tonight is for consideration and a vote either one way or the other as to whether this project can stand as is or whether additional modifications need to be made.
What's that do if council approves it?
City Council, the city can vote to allow one of its own projects to be out of compliance with code.
Okay.
So just in general, this project is out of compliance with code. However, if the city wishes to vote, then the city could vote by majority to allow us to be out of compliance with code. And that would be a better final resolution than a variance, because what we want to do is ensure that we have the least amount of liability moving forward, so that a project, when it's looked back on in hindsight, that's not in compliance with our own zoning rules, would have been approved by council rather than the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Okay, so any questions from you guys regarding this?
Yeah, I thought that, I mean, I don't have no problem voting on this tonight, but I thought that's what the Board of Zoning Appeals was there for.
You could do it either way. And again, my position, because I don't represent the Board of Zoning Appeals, my partner Tom Blondell does, and this project has gone through the Board of Zoning Appeals. However, both bodies would be entertaining the same approval, and the approval is whether or not this project could be allowed to stay as is, even though it's out of compliance with the zoning code. The reason, and Aaron, to answer your question, yes, the Board of Zoning Appeals could do that, and that would be the typical process for any entity that's external to the city. However, what we have here is a city department that has conducted a construction project and is now asking for a variance from itself. So the city's asking for a variance from itself, and given that set of circumstances, again, in order to minimize liability for the city moving forward, I believe it's most appropriate for City Council to weigh in on this rather than the BZA.
From what I understand, they wasn't allowed to vote at the last meeting. They didn't get to take a vote on this.
No, I asked them to table it. So that was my call. So in your packets, what you have is the variance application from Lawrenceburg Municipal Utilities, as well as the position from our Civil Center Engineering Department and Michael Clark giving his analysis of the project. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to read that, and then
They've had it in their packet.
Yeah, we've had in packet, I've had this in planning commission, and my opinion is it needs to be brought up to code. It's a safety violation for the citizens, and I don't think we should go away from our own code that we have. I think it should be brought up to code.
That's what the zone BZA does every meeting, is variations from the code. That's what they're there for.
But as long as it doesn't interfere with somebody's safety, this is a sidewalk where the driveway is all the way up to the stop sign almost. It's not far enough away from the stop sign.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to let the project stand as built.
Okay,
Second.
second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Opposed? Roll call, please.
Councilperson Tony Abbott.
Nay.
Councilperson Aaron Cook.
Yes.
Councilperson Mel Davis.
Yes.
Councilperson Randy Abner.
Yes.
Councilperson Paul Seymour Jr.
Okay, motion passes 4-1. All right. Next on the agenda is the Civic Park ordinance and resolutions. We can't do the redevelopment ones tonight, though.
we're not gonna do any of them tonight. So you have 3 documents in your packet, and this will be an introduction and a first reading by title only of the resolution and the ordinance that will establish the parameters for the funding for the civic park. So 2 of these documents will be approved by City Council. 1 of these documents will be approved by Redevelopment Commission. We'll have a joint public hearing and meeting on March the 18th. And so these 3 documents are just for review tonight, and then again for introduction and first reading for the City Council resolution as well as the City Council ordinance. Bruce Donaldson is here from Barnes and Thornburg, and we also have Reedy Financial Group here. They've both been integral in developing these parameters. Essentially, there are going to be 2 bonds, and these documents lay out the way in which these bonds will be created.
But what I'm saying is that the 2 resolutions are for redevelopment. Only 1 is for us, and that's the ordinance.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well,
yeah.
What there is there's an ordinance for City Council and a resolution for City Council, and then a resolution for redevelopment, I think.
No.
Okay.
See a resolution for redevelopment commission and a resolution for Lawrenceburg redevelopment district governed by the city of Lawrenceburg redevelopment commission. And then on the 3rd, I have whereas the common council whereas the common council, the council of the city of Lawrenceburg, Indiana.
That's the ordinance.
And that's the ordinance. Looks like there's 2 resolutions for the redevelopment.
Okay.
Go ahead and take the podium.
Hi, I'm Bruce Donaldson with Barnes and Thornburg. There is a council resolution that approves the redevelopment district bonds. So the redevelopment commission would adopt a bond resolution for the redevelopment district bonds. The council would have to approve that by resolution, and then the council ordinance would be for the general obligation bonds.
Oh, I see. So that's, okay. Yeah. That makes sense. So this is the resolution for council
Okay.
to approve from redevelopment.
All right, so we approve this resolution for first reading tonight.
Okay.
All right. Okay, any questions on the resolution before we move forward? Okay. What resolution number, you know what resolution number that is for the council?
Would be resolution number 3.
for council?
I'm sorry, Resolution 2,
Dash 2019?
Resolution 2-2019.
Okay.
But again, these are not being passed tonight. This is just a first reading. These are available online. So they're up to be looked at.
Any questions, you guys? I know this is new for us, but.
And I would note that on the resolution for the redevelopment commission, on page 3, there's a change in the date. It changes the date from July to January, and that was an addition requested by Reedy Financial Group, and we're all in agreement. Barnes and Thornburg is in agreement that that is beneficial to the city. That allows us to begin repayment earlier, so it moves up that date, and that date was changed from July to January in both the City of Lawrenceburg Redevelopment Commission resolution as well as the ordinance for Common Council. And both those changes are located on page 3 of each of those documents.
Okay.
So tonight, I would just ask, Your Honor, that we read these into the record by title only for first reading, and then again, there'll be a public hearing on the 18th. That's a joint meeting with redevelopment and council, and that will be published as a public hearing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So first, I entertain, or I guess we'll just enter into the record, resolution number 2-2019. Tonight.
And it'll also be ordinance 2-2019.
Ordinance 2. Okay. In addition to that, we'll enter into the record ordinance number 2-2019, first reading.
So moved.
I don't think we got to approve the first reading, do we?
No, we just show that these were presented for first reading, Your Honor.
And then on the 18th, there will be a public hearing, I believe, at 5 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. And what time, sorry? 5 o'clock. And then for adoption will be that evening as well. Okay. All right. Any questions regarding that, guys? Okay, next is Economic Development Commission. Dell?
Thank you, Your Honor. If it pleases City Council, at the next meeting, I just put this on to give everyone a heads up. At the next meeting, City Council will be asked to nominate a member for the Economic Development Commission. So we will handle that at the meeting on the 18th.
Do you have any members set yet?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any of the members set?
I get 2 appointees. I think I get 1 appointee or a position, and then the county gets a position as well. And I think they're asking me to appoint 2.
So 2, 1 from county, 1 from us?
Yes. No, I get 1, county gets 1, council gets 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll just need your appointment at the next meeting from council. So that really doesn't need to be voted on or anything tonight. The only other thing is the utility agreement. No?
Yes, Your Honor. I would just ask for a vote to approve the settlement agreement for the utility matter.
So moved.
Second?
Mayor, I'm sorry, I can't. Somebody else have to make the motion.
Oh. Can I get that in the form of a motion? Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstain? No? Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilperson Tony Abbott.
Aye.
Councilperson Aaron Cook.
No.
Councilperson Mel Davis.
Abstain.
Councilperson Randy Abner.
Yes.
Councilperson Paul Seymour Jr.
Okay, the vote is, that will pass at a 3-1-1. Okay. Any old business up here, guys?
I got some old business, Your Honor.
You got it.
What I've got is, you know, some questions, things have been upsetting me here the last 4 or 5 days. I need to ask Mr. Weldon some questions. One question I have is, we had a rate study 3 to 4 weeks ago. The guys were here, professionals, and you made the comment that the rate study wasn't right. Are you gonna present your rate study to show us that it wasn't right? Who did the rate study showing that? Can you give me a name?
Would you like me to engage another rate study?
No. My question was at that meeting, you said that the other people's rate study wasn't right. Who gave you the information to say that it wasn't right?
We had 2 accounting firms, Umball and Reedy Financial, reviewed the rate studies, all 3 rate studies.
And they're utility experts. When are they gonna come and when are they gonna say what's wrong with the rate?
Did you get this in the mail today, Paul? Because that is discussed in this. It was
Well, here,
everybody got in the mail, most of us did. I don't know if you did or not.
I ain't been home, I've been busy, so I didn't look at my mail.
But the answers,
I did
what
get a
you're
question.
asking him, a lot of that is in, some of that's in here.
All right, and here's my next question. Who gave them the right to do their study? Who hired them?
I did.
Okay, now, I understand that you work, you're the mayor's lawyer.
That's not true.
You are the mayor's lawyer.
That's not true,
You
Paul.
were appointed by the mayor.
Paul, I
Three weeks ago.
disrespectfully, that's not true.
All right, that's your answer to my question. 3 or 4 weeks ago, we made a decision that we wanted a lawyer for the utility board. At the last meeting, you were our lawyer. The other people weren't here. Did you recently ask the other group to get all the paperwork together and get it to you because you wanted it?
What's your question?
Just what I asked you.
I don't know I don't understand.
I don't want to play this lawyer talk, but what I've got going on here, I got a strong feeling that I've got a lawyer that's representing the utility board, but he's against it. You're against it.
I'm against the utility board?
Absolutely.
Paul, I really don't think you want to have this conversation.
Well, what are you saying? I mean, I said.
I want, for us, we made a vote, and our vote was to be represented by Bingham and Dahl.
This is not the utility board.
Did
We
did we vote to
utility
be,
board business tonight.
That was
did we vote
technically
to have
not
a
your vote,
full-time
though.
USB lawyer? I thought
Vote was to
when
engage
he
Greg
was
Nybarger
needed.
in.
Yeah,
Your
that's
vote
not,
was to
that's not
engage
the
Greg
way it
We didn't
Nybarger
vote
for
him,
specialty
we didn't vote him
services.
full-time. We did not vote him full-time, Paul. We voted that we would use him when he was needed.
And to answer your question, Paul, yes, Greg needs to report to me. And I've requested that to him and his managing partner.
Did you give Mr. Clausen and our new accountant orders not to talk to the State Board of Accounts unless it goes through you?
Paul, I think,
I just want you to
Owen's having you
answer my
ask some
question.
questions that you probably don't want to ask.
Why?
Because this,
I think I deserve the answer to that.
because
How can you possibly give these guys orders not to talk to the State Board of Accounts?
because by law, only the clerk treasurer should communicate with the State Board of Accounts. There's an investigation that I don't think that you guys want to talk about right now.
That isn't true, Dale.
Yeah, it's not.
That's
I'd
not
like to say 2 things about taking the utility board out because this isn't the utility board, but the State Board of Accounts will talk to anybody. They call me at my house, so that's not true about the clerk treasurer. They're contacting me as a council member to talk to them, so that's that. And I do agree with Paul, taking all the utility out of it. You can call it what you want, but you are the mayor's attorney. You've disagreed with everybody up here over the past 4 years, but not once I can remember have you ever disagreed with the mayor. I don't know anybody that agrees for 4 years straight.
I want to make a motion tonight that our utility board, Mr. Weldon, I don't want you as a lawyer on our utility board.
Paul,
And I want to make that vote.
Paul, respectfully,
do that here
you
at
can't
the
do that.
utility
The-
board.
The utility is a department of the city. Now, you can engage outside counsel to advise you.
We just did the planning and zoning's business.
That's correct. I represent planning and zoning
Why
also.
can't we do something right now? That's a fair question. Look, we got problems and we need to talk about it. I don't, is Mr. Nyberger welcome anymore or not? Because I got a feeling you guys don't, you don't want him around, Dale.
That's not true.
I do.
I think he should come.
I would love it if he
If the
came.
LMU wants to pay for it, then I think he should come.
I don't think there was ever any question of that.
No.
I mean, we got a utility group here that's paying their own bills, or they're making their
But
ways.
really,
to
we
pay.
should probably talk about this in utility board,
That's fine.
so.
But I don't want anything happening about getting rid of any lawyers until we have this utility board meeting.
You got one on the 25th.
All right.
Okay. Any other old business, Paul?
No.
Any other old business up here? Yes, sir?
Sidewalk trees, when are we gonna get them? After 3 years
Can't plant
now.
trees this time of year.
We're planting them in the... I'm serious. We've had this program going, I mean, it's a joke, but I'm serious. We've had this program going. People have signed up saying, yeah, I'll take a tree. I want one here. There ain't been a tree planted in 3 years, man. Come on, what's the holdup?
Global warming is probably the holdup, and I imagine the trees.
3 years, Tony, just this.
No. I've been asking for new trees since I got on council. I've been on council for 3 years, Mike, so it's been 3 years.
If you do have a list, I was given that list, there's only about a dozen.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
On that, and the only thing I can say is it wasn't the biggest fire burning. That probably got pushed to the side. We do need to get back on that.
Okay, it's not just the ones that have signed up.
Give 'em
It's
a
the other
timing.
trees
Give 'em
that
some
we have
time-
cut down.
timing.
The other trees that we have cut down because of the bug problems in them and whatever other problems. Those are supposed to be replaced also. I want some trees on our streets.
Only because of the report that we got, the big study.
I don't-
A lot of those trees.
You want to drive around with me to a lot of cities that have only got a spot this big around, and the trees are doing beautiful and have been for years? So I don't want to hear that they got to have 8 foot, 9 foot space or nothing.
Wrongs don't make a right.
I want some trees on our sidewalks. The citizens want trees back on our sidewalks. It's one of the biggest complaints I hear.
Kelly, how many people, what was there, 7?
Yeah. 7 or
Yeah, I
8.
know, that's just the ones that right in front of the house, but there's been, how many of them taken down? How many?
No, but we were talking about when the program went in, it was people that applied for it to have them back.
But
And
I
there
know
was like
there's
7, I
there's
think.
more than 7, because I turned in a few. So there was more than 7.
Well,
But that don't make no difference. I want the trees replaced that were cut down.
Well, that wasn't the agreement to replace every tree that was cut down.
That, we talked about that on all of our discussions, or time and time again. We wanted to replace the trees that were cut down too, not just the ones that people said, I want one in front of my house.
That was everything behind that program, was to offer it up to the citizens
Yeah,
who
the
wanted
ones,
to.
yeah, the ones who don't have one or so.
No. If
They
they,
have a lot of rental property out there that they don't know anything about the trees. The tree property.
well, it's up to the owner, right?
Property owner.
Property owner.
It's not up to the property owner, not
Yeah, it is.
necessarily. It's our sidewalk.
Yeah, but,
It's our street design.
mm-hmm.
May I say something?
Yes.
Let's go back and research the minutes and bring the 7 applicants forward, and then maybe we can set dates for tree planting.
That's about stupid, Mel. You know that doesn't solve the problem I'm talking about.
Well, you had 7 people apply.
There was more than 7, and it
We'll
didn't
we'll-
get out to everybody. Everybody didn't know, and everybody doesn't have the time to come over here to apply for it. They got 100 reasons not to do it.
Well,
But
if
that
they-
doesn't mean they don't want that tree there.
They don't,
They-
if,
And
wait a
it
minute.
doesn't.
Well,
it-
what we'll do,
It
Tony-
belongs to our streetscape.
All right, what
When you
we'll
look
do-
down our street, you guys want to see trees on each side of the sidewalks? How many
They
people
don't-
do?
If they
See?
don't apply, how are we supposed to know to plant? a
Because
tree?
we got holes there where we cut them down.
We fill the holes in.
We had to do that too because one old lady tripped in her hole where her tree was.
All right.
Your Honor,
We'll
make a
research
motion
the
to adjourn.
minutes, Tony, and figure out what, see how many people have applied.
It's just gone
We'll
on
go
too
back.
long, Kelly.
All right.
Make a
Too
motion
long.
to adjourn.
No.
No.
We got advanced, an advanced
Advance
claim.
payments, claims, then you can adjourn.
One for Fall Fest is for Pro Video Audio. This is $27,975. I'd I'd like to have a motion to approve.
So move.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry, and no motion to adjourn.
I'm not making a motion.
So move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Thanks, everyone, for coming. What's that?
I don't want to miss it.
You know what? That's it. I did, I'm sorry. We didn't have to offer. I am so sorry. I didn't see it because it was on the wrong page. I get back here, and it's not there, it's back here under here.
Okay.
What's going on? That's all right.
Really?
That's all right.
Okay.
How you doing? Doing all right? I'm good. Doing good.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'll take it under
Okay.
advisement. I got 5 or 6 people that have approached me, so you got it done.
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't want anything.
Okay. Okay. Let me give it to Tom and I'll see what happened. And I know that we. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We need to fix that. Okay.
Because it sounds like that's it. You got
Okay. Let's just all sit down and look at it. I'll pull whatever I can because I know I looked at it at one point, and I know that when they originally did the transfer, they did some kind of transfer where they deeded the entire property and then cut out. Yeah, and then cut it. Like it was almost like a reverse platting. So I need to make sure that that was done properly. Let's get together. Yeah.
It's hard for me because I work downtown.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the day. Is that it?
No, we'll pull it all together and then we'll do an analysis. That way when you come in, we can just say, here's what we see. And I almost want to say that Bob or Jared Eubank might have been involved. Maybe he did that with Bob.
Hey, Kelly. It was Joe Goldhall.
Okay.
I think that's what Tom said.
Okay.
And Joe Goldhall shows up.
He might have had Eubank help with it, but we could get Eubank Land Title and Ewan Land Title both to take a look at it. Maybe Ewan could represent you guys and one of those guys, and that way there's 2 different sets of eyes on it. Yeah. No, I do remember that it was a complicated transaction, but that's all I remember. So we'll pull it up and we'll figure it out. Thanks for telling me about it. Yeah. It's good to see you guys at the Mardi Gras. That was fun.
It was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Look you up at the State House. Call your
No comments from the audience.
I'll let you know. Well, I'll talk to Chip so he knows where it is.
Well, there's so many. Like, you know, at the State House. I feel like be a part of that.
I'm a junior.
Yeah, I think so.
I represent some other racetracks around the state. Trying to get some, so, you know, the information that got us here tonight.
If you sign that last one for Suzanne.
Probably didn't need to know that.
Yeah, he's good.
Make sure that was. No, it's a good thing. I'm just saying, we try to not do things because of who we are.
Stay in contact with them.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Now,